Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to my podcast channel, which is Men's Talk Town. And as you all know, that I discuss here men's perspective about women, and I interview men on my show to know their perspective about women. So today I have another eminent personality with me, Mr. Ashish Deo. Hello, Ashish. Welcome.
Hello, Sonali.
Yes. So Ashish is an old friend, and I know him since many years. And he's now settled in Japan, though he's originally from India. So I'm quickly going to read his biodata. So Ashish, an Indian national residing in Japan with his wife and daughter, is a seasoned IT professional with a strong entrepreneurial spirit. He is the founder of Counsel Navy, an AI powered platform dedicated to career counseling, and the co founder of Indo Japan Pulse, a widely recognized social platform among the Indian community in Japan. In addition to his entrepreneurial ventures, Ashish is an intrapreneur and an advisor to several startups, leveraging his expertise to drive innovation and growth. On the personal front, he is a passionate endurance cyclist, having qualified for the prestigious Race Across America and achieving the SR title twice, along with numerous other competitive races. His wife, Vaishali, runs a Maharashtrian specialty restaurant in Tokyo called Indium, adding to their deep rooted culture and professional contributions in Japan. Wow, that's so impressive. And it's really amazing to know how being there in Japan, you are, rooted to your culture as well. So, Ashish, just starting off with the first question is just tell us a little more about yourself, please.
Okay. First, thanks for inviting me to this podcast. And I could see that this podcast, Listen to Men, which is a very encouraging and a quite interesting concept. So, thanks, Sonali, for this opportunity for having me in this podcast. Uh, I think you have explained quite nicely about me, but just to give a quick brief that I am born and brought up in Nagpur, India. And then my I was groomed professionally in Pune. So before relocating to Japan, I was in Pune. I worked there for almost 12 years. And since 2011 end, which was the year marked in Japan for earthquake, early March. But that year, by the end, I was transferred by my company. That time I was working with a multinational, the top multinational of Japan, which is known as NTT Data, transferred as a senior director. And through that, I came to Japan. And since then, I am here with my wife and a daughter. So that's my overall brief about where I started and where I landed.
Yes, and I also know about Council Navy, which is your, startup, and it helps students in career counseling, if I'm not mistaken, as I recently hosted one of the shows. So that's a very great initiative. Now, moving to our podcast topic. So, my first question to you is that who are the women in your life and how do you encourage them?
Very, very nice question. And I think thanks for asking this first because this is an opportunity to share something about them. So I'm fortunate that there are three important women in my life, but two have played very critical role in my life. So I am born to my mother Kalpana, but when I was 1.5 years to 2 years, I stayed with my grandmother. So from 2 years kid to getting into the university, I stayed with my grandmother and grandfather. And whatever I learned, the value system in my life is because of my grandmother, Sushila Dev. And in my young age, then I came across my wife, Vaishali Dev, and with her then all my life going on, and she is the very strong pillar of where I stand today. Because the way I see is uh, for any car, like you have a steering, then you can control the direction of those wheels which has to move in certain direction, but you cannot move it without a powerful engine you have. And that powerful engine is played a role played by my wife. So these two women are very important. I have to look after my mother. That's my responsibility. Although my grandfather raised me, grandmother and grandfather raised me, so she also play important role, and which I am taking care. But in the past, my grandmother was my role model, and now my wife is everything with me today when I am in Japan or wherever. So this is about a woman in my life, most importantly.
That is so wonderful to know. So when you say that your wife, that is Vaishali, she's a pillar. So what makes you actually say this? Can you quote any incidents where you felt so?
Several incidences in my life, but one thing is very important to know, that whatever I am today working in MNC, running a startup, advisory, I have my own home here, Pune, where like you, within so many years, you definitely create certain wealth. So
True.
when she joined, I was nothing. I had nothing, zero money, and that time she accepted me. Or maybe she has seen potential, I don't know, but that time it was like blank page, nothing written, nowhere, no idea of where I'll land, where I'll go. There was no dream of Japan or USA. For example, in my job, I have traveled across entire world, many countries, many times. You name the country, I have been there. But that time, even going from Nagpur to Pune was not known. So a person who came to my life that time stayed with me in all, and life is always like a journey up and down. So she has been with me all the time, like up and down all the time.
Yes.
And
Like
now
a roller coaster.
super careful about my health, because I am kind of a sports enthusiast.
Right.
I ride long, I go for long rides like 600 kilometer, 500, riding in some jungle, unknown area, some place. She's always worried I should come back properly with full body.
I know, I understand.
So whether she is in with me in front or not, but there, in the back of my mind, I am always aware that there is someone waiting for me, there is someone caring for me, and there is someone who is taking care of everything that we have created together. So that's why I think that's very important. And you don't have to prove, because the way things are coming, or we are here supporting each other. Like she has her restaurant Indium, it's her passion. By the way, she is also engineer, she worked in
Okay.
IT. She left her job to raise my kid daughter, and then when my daughter was grown up at a certain level, then she decided to pursue her passion of
Action.
being a culinary professional and opening her restaurant. So there was a long sacrifice done. If I was busy traveling across globe for my job, was the one handling the entire house in the background. Without that, it would have been difficult or not possible, right? So those are the things sufficient enough to prove that she play a critical role or important.
That is really wonderful. And I think the most beautiful thing what you said is it's not only her physical presence around you, but it's that unconscious being of her every time, and she's supporting you from behind is matters. I think there is a saying that behind every successful man there is a woman.
Yeah, yeah, certainly.
So, the next part I would like to ask you that regarding workplace, now that you have worked in India and you have worked in a place like Japan, and we have certain cultural differences.
Yeah.
So, what are the major things that you find that women find it difficult to work outside, or is there any incidents that you have seen, heard, faced where you think that men need to be more sensitive towards women?
Yeah, I think yeah, it happens everywhere. Means it's not like it doesn't matter whether you are in India, Japan, America. There are always challenges for women to face, and people try to like like when we were opening the restaurant, we had no clue of what is restaurants are means, and then we had to start from the basic concept to create a entire stuff. And then it's not only financial, but every aspect of talking to multiple vendors, whether it's obtaining license, construction, furniture, and all. So there was always a hesitation in Japan from people to talk to her. Obviously, there is some language barrier for sure, but it's not that only. But it's always like, okay, there is a concept of who runs the household or who is the owner of house, kind of a concept. So then people used to talk to me, and moreover, when people know that there is a finance coming from this guy, then they tend to talk more.
Hmm.
So in the beginning, the most biggest challenge for her was like, forget Japanese or any person, even Indians, like staff who are like, we have a staff from Uttarakhand, north. Concept, culture of dealing or working with women is completely different. When we were starting the restaurant, two three people, and one of them is quite reputed also, they said it's very difficult for women to run this restaurant with a staff from Uttarakhand, because they don't listen. Their way to look at women is completely different. Not like you are in IT and then you are coming into meeting and you are seen like an educated person or having certain kind of a value. So the way they deal is like, woman is for only housework and they should not talk to, and then gungat and all that. And then how come they will accept lady boss? So those were couple of challenges. Then I had to stand there. Initially, what we decided, okay, I'll help you front ending and you stay a little bit back, but then gradually we change and you come front and I'll go back. And in 1 year of time, we did that successfully. I have nothing to look at. She takes care of everything, talking to staff, talking to vendors, talking to customers, everything 100%. Initially, I had to do some kind of hand holding because there was a face of man that was kind of a accepted or expected by those people. But eventually, we had a strategy that I'll come back, you take front. Once that system is in place, now she. So this is overall happens for many in Japan or Japanese, anyone like, or independent of any location.
So, I think you have brought out a very major point here that it is accepted or expected that a man needs to be in the front. And we today we talk a lot about growing, about culture, about independence, about giving that freedom to women. So, why do you think, like today, even in a country like Japan or even India, that we have progressed and we are progressing, people still have this mentality, and what can be done to curb that? Because when it comes to men, do you think that education or upbringing plays a role? Because as you said that it is difficult for them to. So my first question would be that uh, how does education and upbringing makes a difference? And second question would be that do you think if the men who are working in your place, if they were not from a particular area, it would have made a difference?
Yeah, so answering to the first education part, and just before going a bit back, so Japan is known for a kind of a woman dominated, uh, like, although dominated in the sense of in the work culture, not in the sense of fashion or street, like walking or dressing, anything. That's quite open, and that's quite, there is no kind of a as such wall
Yeah,
restriction. Like
dressing
you find
restrictions,
everyone has their own choices,
model dressing and all.
others about anyone, and not like India. Eyebrows are going on the dress and all. No, not at all. But in work, scaling into the job is very difficult for a woman. Very few women scale beyond certain limit, and even in the political circle and all in Japan, you won't find many women. Very few. So that's a typical culture there. But what I see is like, I think it's a generational change that is happening. Like the previous generation was quite kind of a embedded in their mind, like they are the like person who are the owners, should drive and keep women in support system and all that. But I think these generations now are changing. Like the way I see my daughter is completely different. versus my sister in the past. So there is a difference happening.
True.
And people at our age and beyond our age who are coming will not have this kind of a difference, man, woman sort of. They will more believe in equal opportunity. I could see that the way I gave example, like we are working as a team, like who front end first, who handholds, and who takes a back seat. That is already happening. So our generation are the change makers, I think. And the reason is because this generation is getting more and more educated and exposed and getting more experience. And that's why I think in India, rather, it's good that I could see a lot of upskill started happening in the work culture also. It's not like 20, 30 years back situation versus today's situation is very different. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone is vocal about it. Everyone is uh, like if there is no growth, then everyone is questioning about it. So there is a change. Japan with a tradition is also changing, but the change speed is quite slow as against what I see in India. It's quite good actually.
Okay.
That is one thing. And the last question, like what you asked, like if there have been a different people that would have changed. So see, people coming from tier 1, tier 2 cities in India are exposed with a different culture. People who are coming still from a very deep villages, or they are still into that culture, will take a lot of time, but
Time.
their kids are changing. For example, one of the chef we had, they had a very typical culture, but their kid is now IT professional working in Hyderabad. And when I
Well,
spoke with that guy, he said that it's very different now in their family. So things are changing. Maybe tier 1, tier 2 city changes of culture or the mindset is happening faster. These other villages and all, it will take some more time. But I
time.
think change is.
Okay. Okay. So you you think that gradually with education and more exposure to different cultures and areas will make them more sound to work like this. Okay. Or rather accept the changes, I would say. So the moving towards our, towards the last question. When you are at a senior position in your company, and I'm sure you must be taking a lot of decisions with respect to, strategizing, operational, or even selecting people, and you might be having a team also for that purpose. So now, while doing this, do you find any differentiation or, in the process of selection where, and not as such in your company, I'm saying, but overall that you are aware of the market, that while selecting women at higher positions, how does the mentality work at positions, or how does it really go?
Yeah, actually, see, it varies with a company to company. Large MNCs or large companies which I worked with, there are rules of diversity. The
Yes.
diversity is very strong point, and it is quite considered strongly. And then there are rules; those are set. For example, when it comes to hiring, and 10 people are needed, then minimum four should be women, or at least half should be women.
Five should be
Those
women.
are there. Practically how much you can onboard is a different thing, but
Yes.
team with only 10 men is not accepted in
Right.
multinationals. The diversity is questioned otherwise. Manager is questioned otherwise. His growth and his overall annual reviews are questioned. So that is in the large MNCs because of a strong
Okay.
or strict rules.
Okay.
Smaller companies, there are twisting of rules, or there is a power play happens between the owners. Then there are chances of this kind of issues. uh, there are reasons given by people, like maybe for example leaves or something, like, or I don't know, but because since for so many years we are more focused on diversity, so I have not seen this issue, but I certainly acknowledge that this issue might be there in certain mid-range to lower size of companies. They may have some preferences because they might feel like flexibility might be more. For example, say startup, a person is working day night at
Mm.
2 o'clock in the night. If a person has to travel back, then startup has to do arrangements for a woman's safety. There are definitely good startups who are taking care of that. They can't leave a woman go 2 o'clock in the night by herself through Uber and all. So there are certain precautions and measures you have to take care. But some companies might not be taking, and
Might
that's
not
the
be
reason
taking.
they are thinking it's a overhead to arrange all that. Then they might go for a
Right.
preference of men and so on. So it might be happening, but it depends on person to person who is managing that company, who runs that company, what kind of value system that person brings in, what exposure that person has. For example, me being a startup owner, coming from a multinational with a diversity scene, I'll not accept, because what I learned there for 20 years, suddenly I cannot drop that. It's in my mind, it's in my way of working. So I'll ensure that yes, we have to. So that is how it works.
So you think that more and more companies should look into this, and they should make these kind of rules, policies, and arrangements so that women can be accommodated as well as they can be given a fair chance.
Yes, yes, certainly, certainly. And we are living in the world of technology. There is a technology available to do anything like this. I know one company, they started with this mission of women safety. After there were some cases in Delhi long back, they came up with a solution and they have implemented in multinationals like big companies in India. And this solution is more for women safety at workplace and while moving to home or coming from home. So they are so these companies should consider that kind of a technology aspect, and that will not be much overhead, but rather it will give a plus point that women are safe here. Simple thing.
Right. I think it's a very important point that you have highlighted, that if one company can take these measures, others can also look into it, and that can very well be set up and
Yes.
things can move forward.
Yes.
So, what is that one message you would like to give to men so that they can create a safe space for women? I mean, how does the men mentality works here? And you would know that better. And how do you, what do you think that how can men, that maybe it could be a behavioral pointer, it could be a speaking aspect, whatever it can be. So, what is that where they can create a safe space for women?
Yeah. I think they one thing I'll say is like for any men who I know or who look at this message, I think one thing I'll tell is like understand the potential of a woman in your life and create opportunities for them. Don't think too much about whether you'll get money or not, because that's a byproduct. But if your wife, daughter, mother are engaged into some kind of a productive work which they like, they will make your life much happy and you will find more happiness with them. If they are like you are busy showcasing yourself great and fame and everything and money, and if they don't have anything like this, if they are not into some kind of work or what passion they like, then it's like unbalance. One side lot of weight, one side empty. That means it's unbalanced, and that unbalance will create sadness, unhappiness, disturbances, and frustrations. If you want to keep that, give chance, opportunities, or create opportunities. So that is the message I can give. Simple one.
I think a very, very important and beautiful point that you have raised is that women who is there in your life, if she is happy, then your home or maybe the place around you would be more productive and more happy. So that's really wonderful. And any remarks, closing remarks you would like to add on the topic?
I think this is a great topic. I never have had thought that I'll speak like this on this topic. No one asked. We just continue the way we work, and it has given me a kind of a sense of looking back at what I am doing, the concept of what I said, or all it's all coming from my personal experiences or what I'm doing. So it gave me a kind of a retrospection aspect of what I have done and how I should explain that. So it's a good opportunity, and thanks for creating this opportunity.
Right. Thank you so much, Ashish, for being on the show, and it was wonderful talking to you. I think you have brought in a lot of different perspectives and how we can create safety for women at workplace to how she can remain happy and you can become productive simultaneously. So I think it's all about giving opportunities to women. So
Yes.
thanks a lot. And to all the viewers who are watching this, I'm going to share all the social media links of Mr. Ashish in the description. So do follow him and connect with him if you have any queries regarding your children for career counseling, because Counsel Navy is something I think a very brilliant platform that he has come up with, understanding the need of the hour and creating awareness. So that's a very great initiative, and do connect with him. So that's all, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank,
Thanks.
thank you. Yeah, so I think it's a great show, and one thing I could see is a very unique show because I have never heard of something like men's talk and then asking questions about a point of view from the men and giving opportunity to talk about who is in their life as a woman, what role they played, what role that woman has played, and how important that role is, and how that person is supporting woman in their life. So I think it's a very good, and I think you should continue this. If you bring more and more people, men like me, with so then you will have a multiple different perspectives, and that can create a real good kind of a
Mm,
awareness or
yeah.
kind of a knowledge or information for everyone as how to take life forward in a nice and good sense.